So what's up, guys? Back again with Late Night Shots, episode 30. We're making our way through. We're back again. We just started up last episode. Back again with another one today. And we already have a couple more queued for the next couple of episodes. Some very top-tier guys that you're not going to want to miss. So our topic of discussion today is Cohlton Schultz. He was in red shirt last year for Arizona State while Tanner Hall was wrestling, and now he's going to be back. Where does he fall into this mixture of very talented young heavyweights coming in? He's going to be redshirt freshman, although he does have the Olympic redshirt, which he can still use, being that he only used normal one last year, and he's already qualified for the Olympic trials, making it to Final X. So a couple of things about Cohlton Schultz, big Greco dude out of Ponderosa, Colorado, four-time state champion, Ironman champ, and Doc Buchanan, four-time Doc Buchanan champ. So a couple of his notable high school career wins are going to be handing Seth Neville's his only ever high school career loss in the Doc Buchanan finals his junior year when he made the move up from heavyweight. The Ironman finals where he ended up beating number 6 ranked John Birchmeyer, who's at Navy right now, beat him 6-0 in a very convincing match. He beat his senior year at the Doc Buchanan, Nico Villarreal, who's ranked 9th, I believe, in the country. He pinned him in 1 minute and 6 seconds with a nice chin whip, took him right to his back and stuck him. It seemed like a very competitive match before that, but Cohlton Schultz is dangerous from a bunch of positions. He's one of those guys. And having him and Ja'Cory Teamer on the same exact team are going to be some high-flying matches, you can already tell. But where does he fall in with this mixture of high-level heavyweights coming to the field? You obviously have Greg Kirkfield, who's in the same class as Cohlton Schultz. They're both technically sharing the number 1 ranking, and Cohlton Schultz is number 1 rightfully at the beginning of the season because Kirkfield is making the bump up from 220. Now that Kirkfield's a heavyweight, who do you rank number 1, who do you rank number 2? Some sites have it as Kirk number 1 and Schultz number 2, and some sites have it as Schultz number 1 and Kirk number 2. So it's pretty much debatable who's up for. We talked about Greg Kirkfield last episode when he teched 2-time All-American from Maryland, Yusuf Hamida, in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Probably one of the biggest wins of his career up until this point, how dominating he was. Being that Yusuf Hamida is a very high caliber dude, and he just brought it to him like that, showcased off a bunch of different attacks. So Cohlton Schultz is going to be wrestling for Arizona State coming out of redshirt next year. He's going to be in the Pac-12 conference. I think the most notable guy in that conference is going to be AJ Neville's from Fresno State, who, he could very well All-American, but the depth in this weight class it's all going to come down to seeding for the most part, except for like the top 5 guys, So some things that you could see from him, you could very well see him take out AJ Neville. You could very well see him fall to AJ Neville's. Either way, I think he's going to be wrestling at the CKLV where he might be taking on Mason Paris, which should be a great match. Cohlton Schultz actually pinned Mason Paris in a couple years back, so could be a great matchup. Both very high caliber dudes, so yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, again, like you said, this heavyweight lineup for just the whole weight in general for this next season is going to be insane. You have, like you said, guys that are just either returning studs, and then you got all these new up and comers. Can you see them take another year to try to wait out Gable? Maybe you take that Olympic red shirt, you go for it. But I think he's definitely going to be one of those people that you're going to see definitely improve a lot. I feel like being in that wrestling room at Arizona State's going to definitely help him, push to the next level. I mean, he's already good enough to, wrestle at the D1 level, but, you need that little push from high school to college. And, I mean, you got the guys like Gable, Kirk, Mason Paris. It's going to be exciting to see how he, levels up and matches out with those guys and see how, he goes. But I don't know. I feel like Gable and Kirk are people that are just it's going to be a good match, but I just don't think he's going to be there to match up with those 2 top tier guys for the weight class.
I think something that really has to be taken into account is the fact that Gable Stevenson, Greg Kirkfield, and Cohlton Schultz, I think even Mason Paris have Olympic redshirts that they can burn next year, I think Mason Paris has already talked about him wanting to play football his 5th year. That's definitely on the table. I think it all really depends on how far he goes. But with the level of guys that are coming in, multiple guys you could see returning All-Americans fall out of that spot. I think one of the biggest things that nobody's talking about, which you're going to cover in a future episode for sure, is Mizzou's Zach Elam coming back, who made it to the blood round as a freshman. Capped off a huge win in the round of 16 over Conan Jennings, who was my pick to All-American, but then ended up falling 1-0 to Trent Hilger in the blood round. In a battle of freshmen. So he could be a guy you could very well watch out for. He's going to be in the MAC conference, so him versus Matt Stencil is basically a matchup destined to happen with no other real wrestlers. Yeah, maybe Cohlton McKiernan. I'm not sure if he's coming back or not from SIU, but a lot of things you could very well see. So, Cohlton Schultz is, I think, might be a world gold and bronze medalist. I'm not sure, junior. But I think the biggest win of his career so far is going to be over Robbie Smith in the World Team Trials. He made it that far, ended up wrestling Adam Kuhn, who's really just entering his prime for the Greco scene. He ended up going for a head throw about 30 seconds into the match. Yeah, caught a couple gut wrenches. Just really shows like how much of a mismatch it was, just strength wise. But the talent's definitely there for this kid. Obviously, the next match is 5-0. Next year for the Olympic trials, it could be a huge move right there.
Yeah, you do have that, that destiny you have in your mind for Cohlton Schultz to do it to.
I won't say that after.
You have the prophecy for Cohlton Schultz to wrestle in Greco. But I mean, like you said, especially talking about Zach Elam, if you just have seen him online on social media, he looks in incredible shape to wrestle heavyweight. He's just an overall big guy who's going to go out there and just kind of put the muscle on you. But he's going to have to match up with guys like Kirk, who are also just big guys ready to put the muscle on you. But I don't know. I definitely think that's another person you can't count out from being in that at least top 10 range right there. Because he had a really solid freshman year. And, he was training at Mizzou with Don Bradley. That's somebody obviously who's going to be a great person to roll around with in the room. But, yeah, I think Cohlton Schultz is going to be exciting to see, especially him wrestling Greco. I think that's going to be really exciting to watch him do that, to compete, to try to get that spot on the Olympic team. But it's going to be interesting. I think his college career is going to definitely be really, really good. I think as soon as Gable graduates, it's going to be here we go to see where everybody lines up again, because he's that top dog right now. That it's going to be exciting to watch where everyone places out this season. But I think he'll have some really good matches. Cohlton Schultz will definitely have some really good matches, like you said. I think AJ Neville's is probably that'll probably be is it the Pac-12 or the
Pac-12 finals?
The Pac-12. Yeah, definitely the Pac-12 finals. I don't see.
Also have another one of the guys I talked to before, Braxton Mikesell. I think ranked 5th or 6th in the country. Probably will be the strongest dude in the Big Ten. 725-pound deadlift in high school. Extremely strong powerlifter. Did a 700-pound deadlift at 16 years old. But is the talent really there to match up to these guys? As we already went over, probably one of the biggest stories in high school wrestling is going to be Nash Hutmacher, the number 1 ranked heavyweight in the country, deciding to play football in Nebraska over wrestling due to being he's huge, dude. And, at the end of the day, do you really want to cut 50 pounds every year?
Yeah.
And be a 10% body fat to even, it just kind of takes the enjoyment out of sport for a lot of guys. And how skilled he is in football, it really could have went either way for him.
Yeah.
And, the money is the greatest motivator,
Yeah, there's no money in wrestling. After you go to college, you could compete at the Olympic level, but
there's a lot more than you would think.
But still, it's not NFL money. It's not football money. Yeah.
But that's what makes you happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. It's whatever makes you happy. But I don't know. I think Mason Parris playing football, that'll be interesting to see.
100%. You talk to other guys who said they might play football too. Adam Kuhn said he might. Trent Hilger also told us if after college, I might as well just drop out and go to the NFL after this. Why not? Yeah. I think the biggest thing you could see this season is returning All-Americans. Just kind of getting handed to them to an extent,
Yeah, I know we talked about
Guys
it a lot with
even,
Jordan Wood.
yeah,
We talked about how is he going to match up with these new guys, being kind of that classic old style heavyweight wrestler who kind of, takes it a little bit slower and, does it at his pace. When these new heavyweights come in and these kids are flying around the mat,
yeah.
it's going to be crazy to see how he matches up with people like that.
I think one of the biggest things we talked about I think a while back in the heavyweight tournament champions episode is Demetrius Thomas from Pitt, who I even believe he entered the NCAA tournament with undefeated record coming out of the ACC for Pitt. Probably one of the most athletic big men you'll ever see. Had a 16-10 win over Jordan Wood. I think he did have a loss to Tate Orndorff. It was a weird match there, but he was definitely one of those guys. Like if he catches fire, he's pretty much unstoppable. And with this new weight class of heavyweights, I think the only guy that's really guaranteed to All-American, again, is Gable Steveson. You could very well, Mason Parris got up to a number 3 ranking this freshman year after he took out Amar Desi, but that's not the same as a national tournament, Yeah. It's a completely different stage right there, No matter what happens, season titles are won in March. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, you could go undefeated and then go to, you could get, stuck in a match at the NCAAs and you're done. There you go, you lost.
100%. That's kind of unfortunately what happened to Mason Parris in the blood round, Goes in as the 5, so he gets an unlucky draw having Sam Stoll somehow get a wild card, Sam Stoll's one of those guys who you see him wear out a lot quicker throughout tournaments because he beats Chase Beard in the first round of Big Ten 6-1, Not the greatest showing you would have liked to see from him, but pretty dominant. Wins and losses really all that matter at that point. Then goes wrestles Gable Steveson. People were talking about tech fall and all that, or a pin even. It's a 5-3 match. And Sam Stoll be moving around Gable around the mat because a lot of people don't even know, Sam Stoll was an elite level Greco dude before the incident happened,
That I think honestly, he could have been really, really good.
100%. He was, I'll walk into this the 2019 season. These were my picks. This was before the whole Anthony Cassar stuff came out, right? I had Amar Desi taken first, which I think was an okay pick. Highest returning All-American, placed third, right? Mm-hmm. Almost beat Adam Kuhn in the semifinals. Could have been a crazy matchup in the finals because I think Kyle Snyder and Amar Desi matchup crazy. Because what really held back Amar Desi was his ability on bottom because he was mainly a freestyle wrestler. And Kyle Snyder's not a guy who likes to really ride on top like that. Could have been a great matchup from the feet. We'll never know, honestly. But I had him placing first. I had Nick Neville's placing second. Derek White placing third. Sam Stoll placing fourth. And that's really all I kind of saw. I really never looked much into guys like Mason Parris, Trent Hilger. I knew a little bit about Matt Stencil being already winning the MAC title, pinning the guy in the finals from Eastern Michigan, There are always guys we want to look into, but you see all this hype and you wonder how their styles are going to translate to college. And bring it back to Cohlton Schultz, the guy we're supposed to be talking about, right? I think the biggest limiting factor about him is going to be the speed. Because if you look at guys like Gable and Greg Kirkflit, and that just pretty much those two guys. You look how quickly they transition from legs to everything, and when you get on the leg, Cohlton Schultz, I don't know how well his defense is going to stand up against these guys, Because I think the last match he had with Gable Steveson was a tech fall, but that was in freestyle at 220.
Yeah,
Schultz has put on some size, a lot of strength. His strength is very deceiving to a lot of guys.
Definitely.
And he's very good at top. Mm-hmm. So it could be a lot of key factors there, really.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So I think the biggest telltale matchup is going to be at the CKLV, which is mainly his first match. So even if he does take a couple losses there, to guys like Gary Traub, Tate Orndorff, whoever gets a starting spot for Ohio State, takes a loss to Mason Parris, maybe, you can't really put that against him. Or even Braxton Mikesell from Utah Valley, who's also in the Pac-12, which is probably going to be the biggest matchup there. Can't really hold it against him. That's a beginning of season tournament. I think we look at that. If he wins that, that's going to be a huge sign for the postseason. But even if he doesn't, A lot of freshmen progressed a lot throughout the season.
Definitely.
Gable hopping on the scene was hot already. You have a lot of guys such as Tony Cassiope last season coming in with a 16 ranking. He gets up to number 12 after knocking off Gannon Gremmel, beats Trent Ilger in a match. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm not the biggest Iowa fan, but I like Tony Cassiope. I love Trent Ilger. I wanted Ilger to win, just didn't turn out that way. But greatly competitive match and showed he could win those close battles. And another one, obviously you have guys like Seth Neville's coming into the field. Probably not the greatest showing people really wanted, but he proved why he's at the Big Ten level, and he proved that he can compete. Give him another year, maybe he builds into a lot better. Just doesn't really correlate with his style, how he wrestled in high school. Just loves to manhandle people. Same with Cohlton Schultz. So I do think Cohlton Schultz is going to be either a 3-time or 4-time All-American. But
Definitely.
if he can get it his freshman season, I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
But
I definitely think you could see him in at least 1 or 2 finals, at least. But it all depends, like you said, on that freshman year, if he's going to, put it on and kind of show everybody that he really is as good as everybody talks about, or if, he kind of has like a Seth Neville's type season where he's a little bit, he's not quite as good as everybody expected him to be coming out of high school into college. But
yeah, because I think if we're looking through guys, right? I told you Gable's number 1.
yeah,
Don't prove me wrong. I do think Kirk pretty much manhandles everybody else in the field, if I'm being completely honest with you.
I think as well, yeah.
Paris might be a bit stronger than might have all the hype going on outside. I think Kirk's just too technically sound to get hit with one of those dumps.
Definitely.
Mason Paris, 3rd until proven otherwise. Tony Cassiope, Trent Hilger, Matt Stencil, Gary Traub, Tate Orndorff, Jordan Wood, Zach Elam, AJ Nevels, Seth Nevels, Cohlton Schultz. And I just think I named a good 12 guys right there, right? That means even these I believe even these blood round matchups are all American level guys. And it's all really gonna come down to who's having the better day, Because Gable versus Kassar, I think could have really won anyway the 2019, but it's all really down to who's having the better day. Same thing with a lot of these overtime matches, who comes in with the right mindset, there's so many different factors that guys don't take into account that just sometimes they work in your favor, sometimes they really don't, Snyder versus Gwizdowski is the prime example, Gwizdowski's walking in that match, 88-match win streak.
Yeah.
Not really thinking anything of Kyle Snyder, kind of manhandles him for the first 2 periods. Snyder starts coming back, gets a takedown with 8 seconds left, overtime, and then there, you ended the longest winning streak in the NCAA, 88 wins. Even before that, heavyweight has been a pile of upsets, and a lot of times you see the number 1 guy get knocked off by somebody. I think Kyle Snyder's the last guy to not have that happen to him, because you see Tony Nelson wins in 2013, 2014, 2012, and 2013. Nick Gwizdowski comes and knocks him off in 2014. And then 2015 wins again. 2016, he beats Adam Kuhn in 2015. Another high-level dude.
Is this yours? Hello?
One second, guys. We will be right back.
We're back.
Okay. Bro, what? All right, his mom just interrupted. My bad, guys.
We're good. Don't worry.
But you see a lot of these upsets happening. I think probably one of the more notable ones is going to be Adam Kuhn over Mike McMullen. So it really all matters in who shows up on that day and who really does that. So
Definitely.
I think that's going to be the biggest decider in this weight class, especially in those lower round matches. I think then you're going to see guys like Gable, Kirk, Paris, maybe even not Mason Bears. I think Gable and Kirk are basically going to walk through to the semifinals or at least quarterfinals. But I think they're gonna, even if they end up losing the semifinals, they're placing top 4 pretty handedly. You saw that with the 133 also. Guys like Suriano, Fix, Micic, Pletcher, not Pletcher. Yeah, Pletcher.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be crazy to see that all of a sudden Gable and Kirk lose, and that's that's like the third and fourth place match. That would be insane.
It could very well happen because I know in New Jersey, it's one of the craziest brackets I've ever seen. Jimmy Mullen goes in as a 13th seed as a freshman, wins the entire tournament. He was also the favorite. But then you get to the semifinals. The highest seed in there is a 7 seed. The 1 seed and the 2 seed both lost in the quarterfinals. The 3rd seed lost in the round of 16. The 4 seed lost in the round of, 24. The 5 seed lost in the blood round. The 6 seed ended up placing 8th. The 7 seed lost in the finals. The 8 seed ended up placing 6th. The 9 seed was long gone. The 10 seed, I think the 11 seed was, it was crazy. I think Mullen was the 13. JT Cornelius was, it was just the 14 seed ended up placing 5th. Like,
that's insane.
Because you want to know why? Because he had a loss to that one freshman, who was also the favorite by many to win the tournament.
Yeah,
it was a weird match. Like,
yeah, I remember you talking about that. How like Jimmy Mullen was like a lot of people's pick to win, even though he wasn't seeded like top 5.
I know one of the matchups a lot of guys are going to be looking forward to is going to be Chase Horn versus Keontae Hamilton, who's number 1. But Jimmy Mullen should have, by a lot of people's eyes, could have been that second guy to wrestle Keontae in that match. But, again, he doesn't have a win over Chase Horn, I don't think, at least. And stuff can happen.
Yeah.
So you never really know about a lot of these things. So
yeah.
Give me your final pick. What round does Cohlton Schultz get to, and how does he place? Or
I think he'll lose in the quarterfinals to, I don't know who. I'd have to look at a bracket to see who he'd lose to, but I'd say he fights his way back on the loser side and takes home a strong but not that great 5th place, being behind Gable, Kirk, Mason Paris, and I think Zach Elam will be up there.
I think a guy, I really forgot to say this, the Harvard kid, Yaroslav Slavkovsky, could very well be up there. You never really know, but I think Jordan would kind of handle this kid 8-2 in the IWA finals. Luis Fernandez, a guy I've been preaching this entire time. Don't sleep on him. Pin the Harvard kid. But, yeah, I'm going to give you my final take. I also think he loses in the quarterfinals or around the 16, depending on where his seed really falls.
Yeah, that's what
I can see him either going as between 8 and 11 seed. So either he maybe falls to Kirk. Paris would be like whoever the 6 seed is, maybe. I think he either loses to Kirk or Gable. I think those are the only two guys who can really take it to him. I think he pretty much gets through the blood round with no problems, but I think he places 7th. The guys I do think place above him are no specific order because I'm not going to make those picks yet. Gable, Kirk, Mason Paris, Jordan Wood, Trent Hilger, and Matt Stenzel.
Oh, yeah, those are super, super good picks. I mean, you could see this. It's getting crazy.
That I think the 7th, 8th match comes either between, what's his name? Cohlton Schultz and Zach Elam, or Cohlton Schultz and AJ Nevels. I do think, or even you could see Gary Traub or Tate Orndorff if they do make the lineup. Yeah. But I think those are guys that have proven like their conditioning is there, but like I don't know with a guy like Tate Orndorff. Yeah. I know Zach Elam went to took Conan Jennings, a big 6'5", 285 guy, to triple overtime, and capped off the win there over a guy who beat Trent Hilger 9-6 and made some that year also. So yeah, those are my final picks.
Yeah, I think again those are good picks. I mean, it's gonna be crazy to see how this season unfolds and see where everybody lands.
Oh yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Cohlton Schultz. A little bit of extra information. We are actually going to see if Jimmy Lawson Three-time New Jersey heavyweight state champ, most accomplished heavyweight in New Jersey history. Penn State All-American, placing sixth in 2013, I think. We're gonna talk to him, see if he wants to come on. We maybe even film one tonight or tomorrow in the next upcoming days. I think that's one that's gonna have a lot of good information. Probably one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. But stay tuned for that. We have a couple extra guys who you are really not gonna want to miss. But I think yeah, that's pretty much it for now. So this has been episode 30 of Late Night Shots. Thank you for watching, and we will catch y'all tomorrow.